Alright, game one here of Twisted Fusion versus NK, Neon Knights, no keyboard, whatever the hell you want to call them. Notably, Mr. Haxrin missing from the Hellborn side, as Snowy is instead filling in for him. We'll see if he ends up playing the carry role or if he's shifted to a different type of thing to be doing. I didn't want to say role twice in the same sentence, but now I just sound stupider than I would have otherwise. And so, well done to NK, I guess, getting us a replacement for Haxer, although it's the playoffs, man. I'm not sure what the hell you're doing there, Hax. And we are well into this game. I intentionally, yes, I mean, these are replay casts, so I could start it straight from the beginning, but then I'd just be talking about nothing for a couple of minutes while the bans go. Usually, this time the banning phases were a little quicker, so it seems stupider as we're halfway through the picking stage, haven't even talked about the bans yet, and this is just making it worse as they drone on and on. Cersei, Moon Queen, Ophelia, Grinix. So Cersei, Ophelia, not surprising bans. We see this banned out all the time except for that previous series, NK versus BWA or DRE, depending on what they want to be known as. Moon Queen, Grinix here from Tanka Pit. Interesting. Moon Queen very rarely receiving an initial ban. Grinix not that surprising, so let's not talk about those three anymore because it's been done to death. But MQ going to get taken out here in this first banning stage. Considering we don't see MQ that much, like, it's fairly regular. It's certainly not a strange hero to see picked up, by any means, but it doesn't really feel like initial ban material. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Pesty certainly does, so they leave that open, and it immediately gets first pick, along with Rhapsody and Andromeda here for Twisted Fusion, so they're clearly not running a jungler. As they actually now ban out Keeper of the Forest on Twisted Fusion side, a little interesting there, but we'll get to that in a second. So obviously dual support lineup going to be going on here. Pesty Rhapsody expected in the middle lane. Andromeda very possible for a babysit carry in the bot. We'll see if instead they choose to go man up dual lane. They could also tri-lane this, of course. Usually whenever you see two supports this early on and they both have stuns, the tri-lane is always a possibility. That would leave Pesty solo mid. And considering the other team has a gauntlet right now, that wouldn't be entirely shocking to see a aggressive or a safe tri-lane, either of those situations really. Gauntlet doesn't need a babysitter. It doesn't need to be dueled in mid, dual laned. So if Twisted Fusion thinks that NK will not be dual laning mid with that Gauntlet, instead using their support here to babysit the farmer in the safe lane, then it's very possible they could go for the tri-lane here. If not, of course, Rhapsody Pesty, one of the strongest lanes in the game anyway. Meanwhile, on Hellborn side, Madman, Tempest, and a Gauntlet. So Madman probably be run as a suicide here. You could run him as a short laner, but he's, I think, a little bit better as a suicide. He does very well in that role. I've seen him in a few games where he's actually beaten the short laner and gotten kills and stuff, and that's usually not what you want to happen. But certainly a strong pickup there, so it'll be put into Zibe's hands, I assume, for the short lane. Meanwhile, Gauntlet going to be given to LesQQ for that middle. We'll see if he actually does end up being dueled or soloed. He is strong in either of those roles. If he is solo lane, not as much kill potential necessarily, but of course still a strong ganker, so if he has decent runes, good rune control with wards, then he should be able to get out and go to a different lane, grab a kill or two, and then come back. Of course, if somebody comes to his lane, then as well you can very possibly get a kill. Tempest's not surprising, of course, going to be run as a jungler. Probably in their own jungle. We very rarely see aggressive jungle Tempests, but always a possibility, of course. Bans are here real fast. Keeper of the Forest, Wretched Hag, and Flux for the Legion side. So realizing, I guess, the other team could run that Keeper Tempest and suicide the Keeper, although I don't think that's that big a concern. So Keeper of the Forest ban a little interesting. I think that's just mainly to take away the Keeper Tempest combination, which is, of course, very strong. But it doesn't really fit into the lineup as it's constructed right now, so decent ban, not great. Hag, solid. Could be run as a short laner there. Could be run as a mid if for some reason they wanted to short lane the Gauntlet. Very versatile hero, gets picked up all the time, and for good reason, one of the strongest heroes in the game. And then finally, Flux. Not really seeing the logic behind that one. Usually you run a Flux middle, and Gauntlet's pretty surely going to take that mid lane, so interesting bans here coming out from Twisted Fusion. Not really ones that make a lot of sense to me. Meanwhile, for the other side, Sandwraith, Gemini, and Swiftblade. So clearly banning out the short laners, as they do not want Twisted Fusion to be able to pick up a short lane carry. Certainly well worth it, as they have taken the dual supports here, and they're missing a short laner here. Swiftblade, of course, a little interesting. We don't really see him run as a carry very often, but not that surprising. Especially in a tri-lane, Swifty could do quite well with the spin on top of the two stuns to set him up and make sure heroes get locked down. Really, with the full damage of that spin, plus both the stuns, I don't think there's any hero that can survive all that damage early on unless they have significant defensive items and eat a tree in the middle of it. It's just way too much damage coming out at once. So strong bans there from Tank Event on NK. Final two picks here for the Legion side are Balfagor and Puppet Master. So this is going to be a farming Puppet, and I love this. Twisted Fusion, thank you. Puppet Master is a hero I think has tons of viability, both in the carry and support role. Of course, as a support, he has 2 disables, one of which is extremely strong if you can land it right, that Puppet Show. It will do a ton of damage to the opposing team. And the strings, of course, very long, 4.75 seconds, I believe. Plus the ultimate, you know, everybody on your team can hit that. So Puppet Master will get the kill if it's what kills the opposing hero, but it does a lot of increased damage to a single target. So as a support hero, he's really got 3 strong abilities, and as a carry, of course, strong farming mechanism with Whiplash, and does carry fairly hard. Pretty solid burst damage, which most carries don't really have, and if you get a Whispering Helm on him, which is the typical build, because he has so much disable, doesn't really need anything else, he can stand tall in those team fights and dish out a lot of damage. Balfagor, meanwhile, the last pick here for the Legion side, so no traditional suicide. I expect this to either be an aggressive tri-lane or an aggressive dual lane, so I mean there's really no reason why Pesty, Balf, or Puppet should be dual lane or suicided. So I really doubt that's going to be the case. If this is an aggressive tri-lane, I hope it's Puppet Master, Andromeda, Rhapsody, Solo Bot, Balfagor, Solo Mid, Pestilence. That actually has a lot of kill potential in the aggressive lane. And both Pesty and Balf stand a pretty good chance of winning their lanes. So, not bad, liking the Legion lineup fairly well here. Meanwhile, the last 2 picks on the Hellborn side are Torture and Bubbles. So, of course, picking up their support in Torture, as now he is going to be playing that support role. They're going to put Tank Effect on the Gauntlet in mid and Insania in the jungle. And instead, it's going to be Zibe on that... Zibe's playing the Definite Suicide, and they don't really have a traditional short laner in this situation. Zibby's playing the carry here. That's what's happening. Bubbles is going to suicide. So I'm suspecting this is going to be a babysit torture for this short lane madman, suicide Bubbles and solo mid gauntlet. Now, if that's the situation, Legion's tri-lane if they run it, and they may not here. It may be Balf Andro top. And haha, right through the pause, bitches. What's up? If this is, it doesn't look like it's gonna be a tri-lane right now, but hey, Brapsy's still headed up here, so Balfagor tri-lane would be very weird. I don't like that. So I think this is actually gonna be dual lanes. It's gonna be Rhapsody Pestilence middle, which is certainly fine. And this is probably better for Legion side as well, as if this is gonna be a short lane babysat madman, then he won't get very much farm against tri-lane, but they also won't kill him. And tri-lanes need to get kills in order to be viable. Like, you can't just have a farming tri-lane, it doesn't work. The whole point of the situation is that you're getting a lot of kills, otherwise those supports end up super underleveled, they're massively underfarmed, and that's just bad news for later in the game, especially against something like a Madman and the Bubbles, and the Gauntlet for that matter, all of which have strong jump potential. So instead it is going to be dual lane Pesty Rhapsody mid. Balfagor is now suicide, as Andro's heading bottom for Puppet. And this is actually going to be a suicide Madman. Okay, so this is going to be Gauntlet Torturer middle. Solo top Bubbles. Suicide Madman. He's going to take a Comet Stone here, but the stock will prevent him from getting too much down. Puppet Master going to make sure that he maintains lane control, so Zibe trying to mess up the lane control here. Strange lanes both coming out from both sides, really. As stock is going to be there, Comet Stone he takes it, but he's already invisible. And now Andro's out of mana. So Zibe should be able to leech experience here fairly well. He certainly won't get too much farm, but really what he does want is that experience. He'll be able to gank mid and stuff once he gets it. So it should be pretty easy free farm down here for Puppet Master. Puppet Show going off onto him. Going to do a little bit of damage here on top of the Comet Stun. Not able to get the stock off yet, so he's going to take quite a lot of damage here. Bit of an issue for him. But they are running this Suicide Balfagor. That's new. Normally heroes with minions, not that strange, because they just get they'd get the pull and get lane control and be fine. And Balfagor certainly fits that mold, except for the fact that he doesn't have access to his minions at level 1, unlike Keeper and Warbeast, or Wild Soul for that matter. So Interesting, as is the short lane Bubbles. Madman getting a whole bunch more stuff down here. As a Rev Ward goes down, actually Barrel is going to cancel the health bot from Andro, and she's in a ton of trouble. But Zibe gonna have to be careful now here because there's a Word of Revelation, so he's either going to... Oh, there's a Rift Stock, but of course Papa can still see him. There goes the Mana Pot, and Zibe's now out of regen except for a couple Tree Eaters. Just one left, in fact. Up top, Rhapsody can get boxed out a little bit, but yeah, I believe grabs the Refreshment Rune. Impale stun onto Torturer. Now Impalet's going to be thrown out as well. Chain Reaction there on Pestilence, and he's in some trouble. Where's the hook? Nowhere. As the Impale stun comes out. And damn. There's the hook. Now Rhapsody is in trouble. Chain Reactions are there. Infernal Instability. Not yet. Staccato stuns onto Gauntlet. Infernal Instability, just enough, as there is no Impale stun for Pestilence. God damn. Abilities are two similar names. I have this problem with Critics and Madman, Stalk and Rift Stalk, and Impale and Impalement. Not helpful. Tempest's going to come up here and do some damage as Balthagor minions are wrecking Bubbles. So that's one thing about Balth, of course. If he is able to get some levels here, those minions just do so much to harass. And so Bubbles could have some issues up here. Let's keep you playing that plans at Bubbles, but these are just really strange lanes. Now it's working out so far for the Hellborn. They have a golden experience lead, but they're also running a jungler, so they should have an experience lead. The gold's a little more surprising. Let's see why. In middle, Pestilence 10-0 compared to a Gauntlet that is 17-3. So Hellborn winning mid lane. Not that surprising. It's duel versus duel. Up top, Bubbles at 15-5 compared to Balthagor at 10-1. So that's where most of it's coming. Hellborn actually winning 2 lanes here as they're taking both top and mid. And this Suicide Madman down here at 6-0 compared to a 21-9 Puppet Master. So Puppet Master has just tied Gauntlet for the highest CS in the game, which actually isn't that good considering Gauntlet's getting dueled and Puppet Master really should be able to completely box out this Madman. Stopping the pull. Actually doesn't stop the stack. No pull there. Up there, Shell Surf going off. Gonna try to block Balthagor here. Gonna see the... Nope. Something yelling something about cookies. So no Glacial Blast there. Tempest unable to finish off the gank. Meanwhile, bot lane's double damage rune, and of course, Torturer does not have a bottle. Interesting. So, Gauntlet does have a bottle. Zibe, meanwhile, falls on bottom. Nice at that. There's a Puppet Show. Comet's done. Aurora. Strings. Actually, Puppet hitting the Whiplash on the creep, or the Hell Cannon, so a little interesting. But Zibe does still fall. That's good, because really Puppet needs to be doing better here in this bot lane. There's no reason why his farm should be 26-10. He should be in the 30+ CS range at this point. Torture over here is DD'd. Picking up that rune, of course. So interesting that Gauntlet didn't give it to him to bottle. They're looking for an engagement here, and I don't think they'll be able to get a kill between the 2 stuns on Legion's side, but there's Impalement stun followed by Chain Reactions. DD is going to do a lot. Staccato stuns are going to prevent much of anything, but yeah, that's going to be a kill. Wow. So Rhapsody now doing a lot. Going to try to kill a Torturer. Not going to happen as Tankfet picks up the double tap. So well played there from Tankfet. I didn't think they were going to get 1 kill, and they ended up with 2. I think the initiation there from Pestilence was really the problem. If he hadn't used that Impalement stun there, he would have been able to use it as they were counter-initiating, or as a counter-initiate. And that probably would have prevented at least 1 death. And of course Rhapsody's diving didn't help. So Zibe doing pretty well here on this bottom lane. Putting a lot of harassment onto this Puppet Master, who is out-leveling him. And so in a dual lane, that's certainly good for Puppet, as that kill on him, of course, did a lot to get the extra level up. GPM charge real fast. It's 463 GPM on this Gauntlet. That's going to be a problem. Pelt Field onto Balthagor right here. We have the Tempest ult available. Not even going to be necessary as the auto attack's going to be enough. HoN North is going to get both super low. They got to be concerned about these minions. Bubbles is going to die. Man, those do a lot, as now he helps pick up kill on bot with this Puppet Master getting dove. Puppet Show onto Torture, but not nearly enough, as there are the chain reactions followed by the impalement. Comet Stun onto Zibe here, but he will be able to get away, no problem. Just surprised Andrew didn't keep chasing. No mana for a Comet Stun, so probably wouldn't be able to grab the kill, but Zibe actually didn't have enough mana for the stock. Rift Stock, want to say Rift Stock, so use your Renix. So Zibe gonna pot up here, gonna get that knocked off by the Aurora, but we'll be able to take some CS as Puppet Master reports back to this mid lane. 5-2 hero kill here, lead in favor of the Hellborn side. Gauntlet has to be a little careful with those illusions as they can interrupt his hook. I've actually had that happen to me with Devour because I'm bad. But he'll do just fine. He's just head and shoulders above anybody else in this game. Even his own teammate Bubbles, who's second in the game at 300 GPM. 150 behind him. He's just... TwFu absolutely dominating this mid lane, and TwFu better be careful because his job's on the line at this point. TwFu running into the side, Staccato Stun's there on top of the impalement. They gotta realize that there's... But Andromeda's actually coming in here as well, and Gauntlet's in some trouble. Perhaps he will fall thanks to nice initiation there from Zibe, and chain reactions onto Andromeda. Impalement and Impale Stun both coming out. Hook gonna miss from Gauntlet. Zibe's in a little trouble here. He has the bugs on him so they can see him. And they're gonna be able to take out Pesty here. No, nice bam, and Torture's gonna fall in fact. So does TwFu. And now Zibe's in trouble. Stun's gonna be up in a second. Not gonna hit, but... Good counterfight there from Twisted Fusion. As Balf is up here doing a bunch of damage to this tower, and LesQQ is like, what can I do? Zibe actually falls, so he does get caught out. Somehow. The creeps, they still see him with the damn bugs. There's Staccatos, and bam. Wow. So Zibe getting chased down here. There's some port coming in for some help, as it's Torture. Kelpfield gets laid down, so Balf in a little bit of trouble. Trying to dodge chain reactions, does not. There's the HoN Tour, and he's still gonna die. That's really funny. Too many cookies. Have cookies at my funeral. Alright, I'll give you some credit for that, SU. That's pretty damn funny. Top lane getting pushed in here as Tempest, Bubbles, and Torturer all hanging out. There's the impalement, and this tower, boy, is it dying. DD run on Tempest, I believe. Yep. And that's going to be a dead top tower. 3 heroes mid, meanwhile, as Balf's regurgitating in order to grab some minions and possibly push in mid. Push is pretty strong here on the Legion side with Rhapsody and Balfagor, plus Whiplash and stuff, help the team to clean up creep waves as well as Aurora. Gauntlet Blast there onto Balfagor, but he's just going to walk it off. Tempest Ultimate actually does hook in Balf, swap coming out, puts Tempest in a bad position. He's going to get Suns on top of the Silence, and there he goes. And so does Nagavet, man. Nice ultimate there from Slot Please on that Balfagor. And now this is going to be a mid-tower push. Shellsurf going out there, going to try to clean up some creep waves. Zibe just throwing out the barrel roll. But the Balf minions come right back. Kelpfield on the 2, and Balf's in some trouble now. There's the port in, but Gauntlet's going to immediately get stunned. Staccato's onto Torture, and he's actually in a fair bit of trouble. He's going to fall. Barrel roll onto Balfagor here. Somehow still alive. As Madman also getting put in some trouble. He's going to... Yep, there it is. For instability, and there's a hook and the punch, but now Gauntlet in some trouble as everybody keeps diving here on the Legion side for some reason. Little more auto attacks as Pestilence is gonna fall. No, nice Impale Stun. So they still have bugs onto this Gauntlet, but he's potting up, gonna be a little bit too difficult to kill, so ultimately, kind of a fantastic engagement there for the Legion side. I believe they killed 4+ heroes. They killed everything. Yeah, they killed 5 heroes. Everybody died. And they've taken a 10-8 hero kill, so, and really evened up this game. That's surprising. Like, that was a really good engagement. I thought they were in a ton of trouble in that mid lane, but Balfagor just kept taking so much damage and not dying. They had to use too many resources on him, and Pestilence, of course, just getting away. As Invisrun on Gauntlet here, perhaps looking for a kill onto somebody. There's a Warder Snipe behind the tower, so they're going to see Andro coming up. And once they do, they might turn around. Torture certainly will. There's Gauntlet. So we'll see if Andro's in any trouble here. Another port coming into mid lane, so there are going to be 3 heroes here. Any initiation by the Hellborn team is going to be a little sketchy. And this mid tower is dead. Shell Surf going to help stop the push a little bit, but not nearly enough. It's them Balth minions, man. They does a bunch of damage. And they're fast. Shell Surf once again cleaning up the creep wave, so this secondary tower will not get pushed in. Meanwhile, there everybody's heading bottom. Looking for a pick onto Zibe. No portal key yet onto Pestilence. But Aurora going to coming out. There's Dust of Revelation. Actually, Zibe choosing not to port. Instead can run away with the stock, but the bugs are on him and now he's screwed. Actually, he gets swapped out of the strings, but he's still going to die. So there's some bad communication, but Legion's still picking up the kill onto that madman. As Zadra is like, yep, I missed. Hellborn feeling apparently like they're further down than they are. They're only 1,000 gold down. They're even an experience. But really that's been a story of the last, couple of minutes that's probably engendering that attitude. Because Legion's taken a pretty significant advantage, or taken a disadvantage and really run in the other direction with it, as TwFu is playing very well here. The second tower dead, just so much push with those Balth minions, and they're going to keep going to base. And now Hellborn has to do something about this, because this tower will also fall fast. Barrel roll there, going to help clean up some creeps, so will the Shell Surf. And it looks like Legion will back off at least a little bit. But putting some pressure onto that base tower at 13 minutes into the game, very, very positive. And something that NK's last opponents in BWA/DRE did not do. Looks like that was a fake fallback here as they're coming back in. Swap onto Gauntlet. There's the Comet Stun and Staccato Stuns. There they are, followed by the Impalement and dead Gauntlet. The ult going out from Puppet Master, not really necessary, but I guess why not? As maybe now they'll fall back? Yes, Andro's porting away, and every Hellborn hero comes back to base, so as a result the Legion decides, yes, we will port away. Rune gonna spawn in 5 seconds, and nobody's interested in camping it apparently. As it is top, so it wouldn't have mattered regen. But 3 gonna stay mid? Maybe? No, Balthborn and Rhapsody headed top, probably looking to take out that top tower. Should be able to do it by themselves very easily. Zibe grabs that regen in his bottle, and Ancient's actually going to be taken first by Balthor. So Tankafet was up there, way ahead of everybody, and all of a sudden he's the 3rd best farmer in the game. Actually 2nd best on his own team, 4th, 5th. He's falling behind Tempest now, Balth. So Tankafet's early game, excellent start. Just sort of got destroyed right here, all of a sudden. As Rapture takes a bunch of damage, trying to prevent the creep wave from pushing into the tower, allowing Pestilence to take free farm here. And Zibe will be a little annoying. Pesty thinking, I don't know how much backkeep he's got, I don't want to be particularly aggressive, instead choosing just to finish up this creep wave, and as he does not have backup, Zibe will leave. De-warding here going on, as now he has picked up that Bound Eye. Gauntlet looking to do some double stacked Ancients here. Puppet killing creeps in the jungle, as we've stopped the aggression, it seems, from both sides. Not a lot of pushing going on from Legion anymore. Instead, let's just group up and farm. Or not group up and farm, but spread out and farm. The exact opposite of grouping up. So looking at goal distribution, 2.7k lead for the Legion side. Experience more or less even. As Puppet, Pesty, and Balf all have solid farm, and so does Andro for that matter, especially for a support. 242 GPM. 4-0-6. Having a nice little game there. Has Striders, 154 gold. energizer power supply, so she's doing pretty well. And some heroes converging top, it seems. Haystrom picked up by Valve. Looks like he's willing to scout the jungle a little bit, maybe get a kill on Zibe. Gonna put the silence down, but he will get the stock off before that happens. And actually gonna take a bunch of damage there. Let's see, nope, not able to stop the port from Torture, as now he just gets out of there, maybe a second to spare. Andrew's still looking for this madman. He won't find him, as now it looks like Legion's gonna group up and push mid tower. And once again, this is just gonna fall super fast, like, because that's what it does. Barrel roll from Zibe. Cookies are done. And that's gonna be a dead secondary mid tower.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
The fact that they can push towers that quickly, without really putting themselves in a dangerous position, like nobody was up against the tower. Gauntlet gonna port back to base. It's a pretty solid push here in Twisted Fusion. And to be honest, I'd like to see them continue to press it, because they're going to push harder than anybody else. Bubbles need to jump here by the Impale stun from Pestilence. The bug's going on him as well. He's going to Shell Surf, take cover away. But of course, that Flight is available. No more stuns for Pesty, so he's going to need a Gore proc here. Nope, sorry, he puts down the power supply, and a nice take cover there is going to prevent much more from coming out. Rhapsody will take the Kelpfield stun, but now Pesty in a ton of trouble. Barrel roll coming out of both of them as nice Tempest ultimate will lock down both Rhapsody and Pestilence, and they both die. You can see Rhapsody was sitting there setting up for an ultimate. Going like, you want to focus Pesty? That's fine. I'll just drop my ultimate down here and prevent all the damage from coming out of him. So 2 good picks there for the Hellborn side. They're going to turn this into a top push. As this secondary tower is in some trouble. Not that much, though. Portal key going off somewhere. Probably Gauntlet. Or maybe Tempest. Interesting, Tempest choosing to go the PK route. It's like, I guess with the swap from Andro, the Nullstone's not very effective, so he essentially needs to catch Andromeda in that Tempest ultimate. Pesty, of course, can also cancel it with the physical stun. So this is not really a shrunken head game from Pesty or from Tempest. There's too many cancels for it that really wouldn't make it worthwhile. So Zibi running away from this top lane here, and will survive as a result. Legion side grouping up as 5, looking for a push up here, I think, and they should get this top tower very easily, as well as the secondary tower if they want it. Hellborn going to respond by counter pushing in middle, and they'll get this secondary tower if they want it. As bot as well, actually. They could take 2 towers here pretty easily. Top tower going to fall extremely fast. Mid tower is in some danger, but this is probably going to be a 2-for-2 tower trade as the last outer towers for the Hellborn to clean up in exchange for mid secondary tower and bot tower. So there goes 1 tower on bottom, and 1 tower on middle. And top tower now in some trouble. Valve is all the way back here, not really sure why. He's going to port away. But Hellborn not choosing to defend this, instead going for the base in middle, and that's going to be a lot of damage here. So there's a bit of a base race going on here, and Hellborn are winning it. As bot secondary tower also getting pushed in, so top secondary gets killed, but Legion needing to defend their tower here, and this bot tower is also going to fall, it looks like. No, as the Legion side is coming in to defend it, and Gauntlet will piece. So this is in deny range. And it should be denied here. So technically 3-for-2 tower trades there, favoring the Hellborn, plus they got some damage on that base tower as well. So pretty effective split push, really. Whip it! Stir, chop. Wow. He's making cookies. You don't stir and chop cookies. I guess you do stir the batter. I don't think you chop anything, though. That's just weird. Meanwhile, nothing's happening now, because then it just seems to be like a lull and push, lull and push. As once again, Legion is now back into the push. So really short lull there. And they're going to force Hellborn to respond to this. They've now gone down in Golden Experience, as 3 towers were taken on their side compared to 2. Tempest's going to jump back in here with a portal key, not going to get initiated on, so that's certainly very good. But his PK is on cooldown for 7 seconds. Dance Floor from Rhapsody helping to push a little bit, as Balf is... Okay, interesting there from Gauntlet. Balf was sort of trapped, and instead of waiting for the easy hook, he decides not to do anything. This tower is going to fall. Nice silence there on a Gauntlet, preventing anything coming out from there. Jump here, though, onto him. Actually, immediate stun there on Pesty as it follows, and he's going to fall thanks to Kelfield. Nice ultimate. Needs the swap. A little late there. HoN Tour coming out. Nice Rhapsody ult saving everything. Rhapsody probably going to fall here. No. Actually, Staccato stuns onto Tempest as Les QQ on that Bubbles also dies, so... Gauntlet falling. Here comes Zibe. Gauntlet actually buys back, and Balf's in a ton of trouble here. Will fall. The rest of the Legion team now jumping away. Andro gonna get chased down here. Meteor goes down, and that's not gonna happen, buddy. Actually, now he gets picked off by the Balf minions. So once again, Alphagor getting a kill from beyond the grave with those minions. First on Les QQ, and now on Zibe or Znawi. So, and he killed the Eye too, apparently. Kongor being attempted here, and this is sort of something that the Hellborn team can pull off, and might need to, because they did not really win that engagement up there. They'd lost a few heroes, Tempest lived, Gauntlet by back, Kelfield, Bubbles, Torture, all died, compared to the 3 deaths on the Legion side of Balfagor, Andromeda, and Pestilence. So Invis Rhapsody going to be over here scouting things out. Pest is looking for the jump with the portal key. There he is. Gonna find another Bubbles. Bubbles gonna take a bunch of damage. Not gonna be able to get the take cover off, and now he's falling. Staccato Stun's also onto Les QQ there. Or sorry, Tank Effect. So 2 deaths. And nice pick off. They're gonna clean up the rest of these Ancients. Legion side showing what's going on here. So forcing actually a lot of buyouts here. Gauntlet's second buyback. I did not realize that. So Gauntlet now permanently dead whenever he dies. As Tank Effect has recovered a bit, 370 GPM, but not near where he was in the early part of this game. Really, as Gauntlet, you don't expect that to continue, because that's mostly based off kills. You're not going to continue getting kills at that rate. And he just doesn't farm all that fast. But this is going to be a Convert kill now in favor of the Legion team, as Hellborn does not have a manpower to stop it. And I think this comes back a little bit to the really weird Bubbles decision. Like, if you're going to pick that hero, there's a reason he doesn't short lane, ever. It's because he doesn't carry. And as we get into the late game here, Zibe has 290 GPM, and there's nobody else on this Hellborn side that has carry potential of any sort. I mean, besides Zibe on that Madman, but he doesn't really have the farm to be doing it. He's 1-4 and 7. So he's got the Shrunken, which is nice, but no damage whatsoever. And Madman actually does not do that much damage. He has some issues locking people down. And Hook is going to miss once again from Gauntlet as the glyph goes off. Now these racks are just going to die. Initiation actually punches the creep. They're going to jump on. There's a dead Tank Defense so fast. Shrunken Head going to go up there and eat it, but no, there's a Tempest ultimate. Very well done. Not going to be able to be stopped. And a ton of damage going to come out here, especially from Torture, as a lot of things fall. But there goes Torture himself. Bubbles in a ton of trouble now. So is Zibe. Madman has to run away. And Insanity on that Tempest has to run. Actually, Pestilence falling. Puppet Master going to be able to kill Temp there. And taking the Glacial Blast there, he will fall here. But the Token of Life on him, of course, so he'll come right back to life. Silence there onto Madman, plus the Puppet Show, and Zibe's going to fall. Puppet strings onto Bubbles, and he's going to try to take over Shell Surf. He will get away. So Legion side definitely winning that engagement and taking some racks. Big token there from Puppet.
A Hellborn barracks has been destroyed.
Bubbles can try to do some harassment here on the Balvor, but he just doesn't care. I don't know. It's a little concerning. They're going to try to chase people down here, but it's not going to happen. Balv's going to be totally fine. Shellsurf not going to scout him out. I mean, looking at the GPM charts here, Insane Tempest is doing very well at 417, but then Gauntlet 340, 314 on Bubbles, 294 on Madman, just not great. As he just bought out, actually. He did not. Wow, he respawned? Interesting. No, sorry, that was Gauntlet and Torque Tempest. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Zibe's just respawning now. Like, that was a really fast respawn for something that doesn't involve a buyback. But anyway, it's pretty clear here from the GPM charts that the Legion is doing quite well. 525 gold per minute on that puppet, who's doing a ton of work with all those disables. Jump gonna be here on the Gauntlet, plus the bugs. Now he's in a ton of trouble. Staccato and Comet Stun coming out, and there goes Tankafet. So easy pick there. Up top, Madman might be in a little bit of trouble as Invis Puppet Master looking for the jump. Will not find it quite yet as the Assassin's Shroud is on cooldown. He is, of course, looking for the Assassin's Shroud. Gonna need to put something down, though. He's gonna lose. Initiation. Where's the jump? There it is. Wow. Nothing Zippy can do there, really. Just wrecked. That was pretty funny. And with those two pickoffs, they are going to come here and push top. Zibe does have a buyout. Tankafet, of course, doesn't, but he's back in 10 seconds, so by the time they get to this base, he'll be up. I think Zibe's going to need to buy out here because it's going to be a big fight. Tempest Ultimate not up for 25 seconds. That's big. That basically means that, I mean, I really don't even know what Hellborn can do to stop this at this point. Like, they need the Tempest Ultimate. Jump in there, but nice portal key away from Gauntlet. And Tempest, or Pestilence, finding himself in a little bit of an odd position, taking the Gauntlet blast, taking everything as he falls there. Chain Reaction is going to hit nothing, I don't think. Zibe popping that Shrunken Head, going to eat the HoN Tour through nothing, actually. Balfagor is not doing too much here. Kelpfield goes out in a bunch. Rhapsody Ultimate doing saving a bunch of damage from Balf, but she's going to fall. So is Balfagor in a second. Gauntlet actually going to die as Tempest Ultimate goes out, but he gets swapped out of it. Silence there onto Tempest. Now Balf's still alive, and Jesus Christ, Zibe dies to a nice puppet. Comet's down there onto Tempest, and now he's in a ton of trouble. It's just not going to happen here, buddy. Oh god, if he gets boxed in, here's the portal key. Wow, Creep's helping him out a lot there. And it's a CC vote from Hellborn. And, like, I think that's sort of deserved here. This is going to be a second loss for Rax.
Defeat. Legion wins.
So,
A Hellborn barracks has been destroyed.
a little bit of a weird game, it felt like. But Hellborn, I think the decision to suicide the Madman was very silly. Just short lane bubbles doesn't ever work, and I think that was their problem, is their only late game here, which was the Madman, never got any farm because he was in the suicide lane. And he probably would have done just fine if he was... Actually, apparently the minions there picking off Insania. I think he would have done just fine against that Balf, of course. Certainly Balf would have had a hell of a time trying to kill him. And, I don't know, also interesting laning decisions coming out from Twisted Fusion, no doubt, but so some curious decisions from both sides. And Twisted Fusion does take up the strong push lineup, realizing, unlike Brothers with Attitude, that they do need to push with the push lineup, and that was where their strength was. But of course, they did have stronger carry potential as well, I think, with Zibe's terrible, terrible farm. So that's game one. It does go to Twisted Fusion, and let's move on to game